Welcome back. Hearn and Bellew, Talk the Talk. As we know, the award-winning show that just slipped away because we felt that it was getting too popular, didn't we, Tony? We had to knock it on the head. And I will say one of the highlights of the press conference was when I said, people say you can't punch Oleksandr, and he said, ask Tony Bellew. You found it funny for just 1 second, and then I saw the old eyes kick in. And did that annoy you? Did it aggravate you?
I was thinking about getting up and strangling Alex, and if he wants to carry on, mate, I'll take it out on his good pal, because it's obvious I can't do nothing to Oleksandr, so I'll just beat his pal up.
Well, you did have a great fight with Oleksandr Usyk, but your other good pal, Derek Chisora, takes him on this weekend.
Yes.
Do you know, one thing I've been thinking about is, you've not boxed behind closed doors before, right? The noise, people screaming and shouting for you make a huge difference. You're going to have some of the biggest mouths in the world, in Tony and David, screaming and shouting, encouraging. How have you got your head around this no crowds yet, or are you just that focused on the win?
Yes, I've already started getting into the zone now. You know, just when I went training yesterday, I normally play music, but I didn't play nothing. You know, in my room I got music for me only, but when I walk the arena or start warming up, there will be no music at all, because I want to get used to that environment. And that would take a part. That would be basically hard for both fighters, for him and me, because remember, he's used to boxing in front of a crowd as well, like 20,000, 15,000. And for me, I boxed behind like 200 crowd, 200 capacity before in Monaco. Yeah, and then that was hard. So we'll see what happens, but
You look light there. Are we expecting you to come in lighter than previous fights? Or
mate, I'm definitely gonna come with twinkle toes, bro. I'm dancing. I'm gonna be doing the shuffle. I'm gonna be dancing. I'm gonna be on the back foot. It's gonna be a good fight.
Tony, you guys are close. I remember when he beat Takam, everyone was going mental in the ring as well. You're going to be making some noise on Saturday night. You excited for Del? You nervous for Del? You know exactly what he should expect in there.
Yeah, I am. I am nervous. I wish, you know, it's different when you're a fighter. You're never nervous when it's you, but when you've got no control over anything, my arse is twitching. So I hate it, and it's not nice, because I know what he's going to do, and I know what he's willing to go through to get the victory. I know he's going to get it, but it still doesn't detract from the fact of what he's going to have to go through to get it. And that's where I don't care about boxing. He's my friend, and that's the most important thing. So it's an amazing fight. He's going to do it. He's going to shock the world. But while it lasts me, it's going to be horrible.
Do you think when people talk about the fact, and do you think that Del not having a simple game plan, but his game plan is exactly what it says on the tin: get close, get on the chest? Do you think when you talk about the way Usyk drains people with his feet, and you know, you're always thinking, do you think that's going to suit Del Boy? Because he's not going to be. I know when you boxed him, it was, you know, you were switched on all the time, and you know, the feints and the feet. But Del's going to try and find a way to sort of, you know, not even go into that moment and just find a way to get on the inside. Do you think that's going to? You don't see him getting drained by Oleksandr Usyk.
That's what I'm saying. This is a completely different ball game now for Oleksandr Usyk. For the first time in his whole career, he's not going to be able to dictate the pace or the range with his feet. His feet are his greatest asset by a standout country mile. His punch array and his punch arsenal is good, yes. He does have a bit of pop. It's just more stinging punches, but his feet are what dictate everything. And when Derek gets close, which he's going to get close, in his mind, I know Oleksandr Usyk's thinking, this guy's not going to be able to get near me. You couldn't be further than the truth. He's going to be on you like a rash.
Does he have to back him up?
It doesn't matter whether you back him up or whether you corner him. Either way, you've just got to keep cutting the ring off at certain points all the time. You cannot follow someone like Oleksandr Usyk. When you follow them, it's going to make for a long match of just cat and mouse chasing all the time. Cutting it off and then getting into periods and areas in the ring where you can go to work. I know he's going to go to work. I know he can't wait. The crazy thing is, he's actually excited at the thought of getting punched. I know he's nuts, but he can't wait for Usyk to hit him, because he knows that when he's hitting him, he can hit him back when he's in that range.
Talk about that power. I know, look, you were gassed when you got chinned, but you didn't look troubled in other areas of the fight. Did you feel any particular power in there again? I mean, I know he's carrying a few extra kilos, but no, he doesn't look like he's going to be weighing, you know, deep into the...
He's a stinging puncher, Eddie. You feel every shot, so his jabs are stinging. His straight backhand down the pipe, it stings. You feel everything, but I was so switched on mentally. This is why, you know, everyone says to me, you was ahead, it was going great, but I was exhausted, and he exhausted me with that front foot pressure. As I've said before, he's done it to fighters throughout the career. I didn't know that he went on record as saying I was his toughest fight. You know, he didn't anticipate that.
I did tell him to say that. That was in the Twitter Q&A.
Thanks very much. I thought so.
He actually chose Gassiev, but I said it'd be nice if he said you.
So he says that. I understand why he said it, because I made him do things and took him out of his comfort zone. In fights where he's being pushed really close, like Marius Paredes, that's when these guys bring the pressure to him. He expects the pressure to be brought to him, but as I said before, he always comes strong as the fight goes on because he's able to dictate that pace with that lead foot. In this fight, he doesn't have that, because Derek wants, if his front foot is close, that's what Derek wants. He wants him to be in range. He wants him to try and lean back and make Derek miss. It's not going to work. For the first time in Oleksandr Usyk's career, he's going to have to go to the well. Literally, he's going to have to go to the well. And we're going to find out all the questions that need answering on Saturday night are from Oleksandr Usyk and his team. Can he take it? Is he willing to dig deep enough? And what's going to happen when you stand toe-to-toe with Derek Chisora? I know what's going. Well, I think I know what's going to happen, but the whole world's going to find out Saturday night.
How does it? I know you respect his power. Of course, he can punch, but the difference between fighting him and I always thought the David Price fight was a horrible fight for you because you know you were expected to win comfortably, but you knew. I remember one uppercut he hit you. It was an absolute beast at the end of the round. You know, are you actually excited to go in with someone that doesn't have that sort of power of a Price or even a Dillian White, those kind of guys?
The guy's got power, but I'm just excited to just go in there. I haven't boxed for about 9 months now, almost a year. So I'm just excited to go in and eat some leather. Most people want to be boxers, but they have to do it because that's what they chose. It's too late for them to pull out. But for me, I enjoy eating leather. I enjoy the pain. I enjoy after the fight going home. Jaw's hurting, your rib is bruised up. I enjoy that. I'm like, wow. I enjoy that pain, and I love it. So I'm so excited to go in there in the ring for this guy to move around, wrong foot me, for me to adjust. But I know for a fact while I'm doing that, I'm going to be hitting him. He's seen, I think you've seen a couple fights with me. He sees me as, a simple fighter, come forward, straight forward, but he's in for a surprise.
Do you think they're just extremely confident about this fight? I mean, do you think there's any doubt in their minds at all? They just have supreme confidence in their man. They don't look to be expecting. I know Dave come over and sort of said they don't think they're getting a war.
You'd have to understand that what this guy's done. Olympic gold medalist, won every belt there is to win in boxing, dominated the very best fights in the world. He looks at Derek and he will see past and previous performances and think, this guy can't beat me. And based on some of them performances, he might be right, but he's not anticipating what he's getting on the night against Derek Chisora. He's not anticipating the shape Derek's in. He's not anticipating what Derek is willing to go through to get to him. And they're things that you have to learn and adapt to when it's happening to you. And I'm telling you, it's going to be too late on Saturday night. It's not going to be enough time for him to adapt. David touched on some of the points of, has he been going through this in sparring? Well, 99% of fighters, when they get sparring partners in, the last thing they want is someone who can bully them and rough them up and push them. What tends to happen is, if you get a sparring partner in and he's doing you in and getting the better of you, he gets shipped out within a couple of days. Now, I genuinely believe that's what Oleksandr Usyk would have been, because they're not going to want any risks. If he's got a sparring partner coming in and bashing him up, things like cuts happen, injuries happen because you're at full pelt all the time. This man has had how many different sparring partners come in? He's been at full. He's prepared for the very best of Oleksandr Usyk. Oleksandr Usyk has had different fights on him. He's going to fight Carlos Takam, then he's got an injury, then he's supposed to fight Spong, then he's supposed to fight this guy. He's had so many different things put in front of him over these last 12 months. Derek Chisora's had one man on his mind for 12 months, Oleksandr Usyk, one style to prepare for, one thing to do. It's just Oleksandr Usyk, everything. I
suppose the truth is, Tony, that over 2 years ago, he boxed you, or 2 years coming up.
Thanks for that.
And he's only done 6 rounds, and that was against Chaz Witherspoon.
And that is nowhere near enough. Chaz Witherspoon, no disrespect to Chaz Witherspoon, but come on.
Yeah.
Chaz Witherspoon. He turned up on 48 hours notice, was it?
70.
After that cheating scumbag failed the drug test. So it's just, he's not prepared, and he's got no form coming into this fight. It's the perfect scenario for Del to go and shock the world. I genuinely believe this will be the biggest shock in boxing since Lloyd Donegan beat Don Curry.
Yeah, people saying one of the biggest shocks in British boxing for many, many generations. Del Boy, we'll let you crack on, mate. You know, you've done your press conference and your obligations.
David really wants to come in.
Come on, we'll switch it up. Let's get
David
Dave in here. Del Boy, thank you very much.
Look
You
at him,
can
he's itching to
take. Go on, behind the mic, Dave. Behind the mic.
Best
I know you're a bit
salesman in
shy. We're a bit. I mean,
That one, son.
no. All right, Tony, you go there. Dave, I've got to say, you were on the point with a promotion this week. I've actually had a few lay-ins.
It's been easy.
I know, it's unbelievable. I'm thinking,
really
Dave,
easy.
can we partner up a little bit more?
I can put my heart into it so much more.
But that's what I'm saying. When you believe in something, and you're selling, it is.
You know, Derek's done things he hasn't done before, and the way he closes the range now, the way he forces his sparring partners, every single sparring partner had a belief before they came to spar that they knew about Derek Chisora. They've seen him on TV, they know his style, rough and tough, cross arms, comes into range, but you can move him around. Watch most of his fights. He doesn't really close the range that well. He fought a couple of southpaws. Seinar Gashi, for instance, wasn't able to go. He had 10 rounds to do it. A perfect opportunity for him to really show the world what he's got. He failed abysmally. It was terrible. It was so bad, Sky didn't even do an interview with him afterwards. He was trying to look for the camera to interview. Does that? No, just get out of the ring. Just go to the next fight. That's how bad it was. Because he didn't know how to close the range down. Now he does. All of his sparring partners said after the sparring, we couldn't believe that he forced us to fight at such a pace that they could only do 2 rounds apiece. We had 5 or 6 sparring partners at any given time, and they were given a £1,000 bonus to knock him out. So it was fight conditions. We told them before, try and knock Derek out. And they're like, are you sure? And I said, we'll give you £1,000 if you can knock him out. So like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, just crack on. And Derek's sitting there going, is this £1,000 come out of my purse? I'm like, yeah, he is. So
I remember when we made the Spilker fight, you were saying, not a southpaw. I saw him against Gashi, etc., and he went in and absolutely obliterated him. I remember in that camp, you know, he started off and you called me, and he's going, it's difficult with a southpaw. Yeah. And then just the last couple of weeks of that fight, you said, you know what, he's got it now. Yeah. Has that been part of the camp as well, to readjust to that southpaw challenge?
He had to really rewire his brain for the southpaw. You know, Tony would tell you, when you're fighting the southpaw, all of your usual defensive moves that are deeply ingrained in you. Someone throws a right here, you bring your shoulder up to you defend it. It's all round the other way. The shot's coming it this way, so you can't go back that way if you get caught with a shot. So it was difficult to get him to rewire his brain, but we finally did. And I'm so fortunate that he had those 2 training camps with 2 southpaws in his last 3 fights. David Price obviously was a completely different situation, but the fact you have 2 training camps against southpaws, then get this fight against one of the best southpaws ever, it's a perfect storm. Stars and moon have aligned on a perfect night with Usyk not having a real fight in the last 2 years. Right, the last time he had a real fight was against yourself in a fight that he was losing. Let's not forget that. So how far back before he was really dominated? Well, how far back you got to go before he went out there and completely dominated someone? You got to go back a long time. He had some tough fights. Brady's fight was tough. Yeah. You know, Gassi, they were tough fights. It weren't like he wiped the floor and took him out in a couple of rounds. It was real action. So he's going to be in a situation where Derek Chisora is going to close the range. I loved what I heard from him where he said, this is going to be peace, it's not war. I'm like, dude, if you haven't prepared for a war, you're bang in trouble, mate. This isn't not a bull in a matador situation where you're going to be moving him around and doing that comfortable stuff that you used to do in the World Series of Boxing with big, tall amateur, style fighters.
Did you like that comment that he made about the World Series of Boxing?
I love that. I was like,
in heavy,
that's not it.
A long time ago.
That is not it. No. That is not it. One of the most physically grueling training camps I've ever had was the one for Derek Chisora, when I fought Derek Chisora, because I don't like short, come-forward fighters. I thought Jacob Fragomeni was short, got into me, cut my eye, life and death fight. Mormek knocked me down. So Derek Chisora is just like a bigger version of that. Skill-wise, it wasn't as good, but the physicality of someone that heavy getting on you, I had to bring Carlos Takam in, and I was losing so many of the rounds with Carlos Takam because I just didn't know how to deal. And my energy level just went down so far. When I've held my feet and really tried to bang with him, he could absorb them and just keep coming back with me. And my energy would just go down and down. Then I'd try and move it, cut the ring off because I had a small ring in the gym. And I remember thinking, oh, shit, this is going to be a really hard night. So I had to do so many rounds of sparring to get comfortable with the big man on me. And if I hadn't have done that, I would have lost that fight, 100%. But it's only because I was comfortable inside, fighting inside, punching around the back, literally fighting up close with a big man. If he hasn't been doing that in training, he's going to come unstuck real quick.
He certainly hasn't been doing that with anyone like Derek Chisora.
No,
as we said before, it's very hard to get sparring partners in because the first of all, they have to be at a certain level to be able to compete with Oleksandr Usyk straight away. And anyone who's competing with him is a contender, basically. You're not going to get a journeyman sparring partner in who's going to push him to realms where he's not comfortable. So I don't think he will have been getting pushed the way he should have been getting pushed in sparring and training. As David said before, he got in Carlos Takam. Carlos Takam was a contender. Carlos Takam wasn't...
It was 8 years ago when he was fresh.
Well, it wasn't a sparring partner for anyone. This guy wants to be heavyweight champion of the world, and he was coming to you to prove a point probably in camp. And I'd say rewards get put on the line. Do we know if Usyk prepares like that? I just can't see a heavyweight in the world, a short heavyweight built like Derek, who could come and put it on Usyk the way Derek's gone. I don't know one.
He brought Dave Allen in recently.
Dave can fight. Dave's a good kid, but listen, Dave Allen is not Derek Chisora.
Dave got to move. Dave is, he's hands down.
They've got a similar opponent in David Price.
Yeah.
Yes.
That shows the level of both of the guys. So Dave Allen didn't have a good night. Derek Chisora sparked him. So Derek Chisora is a different animal, and it's very difficult to, as you said, to replicate what he's going to get. And Dave Allen is a good boxer. When he moves his feet, he can actually jab and move and slip shots. Derek ain't playing that game here tonight. He's going to just get on his chest, close the range, and
who can you get to replicate that? It's virtually impossible, because if you are going to replicate it, you're going to need 3 or 4 men. One man can't do it. Because if one man could do it, he'd be fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world.
Exactly.
So when you talk about Del Boy needing to cut off the ring, and we saw 2 fights recently. One was Lewis Ritson against Miguel Vasquez, who he followed him around the whole night.
Did not cut off the ring once.
And then you saw, I watched Chocolatito last week against Israel Gonzalez, who after 2 or 3 rounds just closed him down, worked him. As soon as he got close, it was 3, 4, 5 shots here, wherever it takes. Is that the same for Derek in this fight? He can't be following him around the ring.
The greatest I ever seen do it is Julio Cesar Chavez. He would step across
step up, and side steps.
Aldi would come across, he would just pivot, boom. And if you ever watched Chavez fight, he would leave a mark on people's ribs, and it would be the same spot he would land every single time. Derek needs something similar. Just step across and keep touching down the stairs. Make it so uncomfortable for this guy that he, at some point or another, he's going to want to stand and get your respect. That's going to be the goal here.
Yes,
hit him, wherever it takes. Hit him here, hit him arms, legs.
And don't wait too long in the fight.
Just
I guess the last thing you want is after 7 or 8 rounds,
No,
Usyk goes back and he's still fresh. Yeah, he's getting uncomfortable, but it's got to be, you've got to take it out of him early doors.
You can't be behind in this fight at any point. You have to get a lead against this guy, because once this guy's got a lead, that's it. He doesn't surrender leads. Simple as that. He just doesn't do it. This is why I went and approached it, and I knew I had to get a lead. I knew I had to get off the mark early. Derek cannot afford to be chasing this fight after 5 rounds, because
4 or 5 rounds down
he will just make you look silly then. He will keep drawing you in, and you will miss and miss and miss. You've got to hit him early doors, literally from the first round. Get close and make him pay for it. Make him earn every single shot he lands on you. Every time you get hit, whether you hit him or you swing something or you go back at him. You don't give him a free shot. You don't give him any time or space to think. This is hard to do, by the way. This isn't easy. No. But he's got it. David's got him in unbelievable. The way that you guys have got him in shape, the way he's moving. I speak to him all the time. And, you watch certain videos. He'll send me clips of what's going on in his camera stuff. He's in unbelievable shape. And people say, oh, you're his mate, you're going to say that. Believe me, he's cutting the ring off faster than I've ever seen him cut a ring off before. He's so fit. You just said to him before, you look like Derek. What do you weigh? He kind of moved away from that and just brought the subject to completely something else.
What do you think of that weight? We're going to see him at a...
we're going to see I think we've never seen Derek in optimal weight yet. We don't know. He's done so much more strength training for this fight, so he'd have put on a little bit more muscle. He'd have lost some body fat. No one's known what Derek's perfect weight is, because he's never had a perfect camp yet. So this is going to, whatever he weighs tomorrow will be his perfect weight. Whether it's 215 pounds, 215 kilos, 216. For me, it doesn't matter. I just know he's got, whatever it is, he can move it for 12 rounds. He can throw 4 to 6 punch combinations consistently for 12 rounds, whilst moving his head, whilst coming inside, whilst grabbing, moving, pushing, pulling. He's really forced himself to a place that I didn't think he could get to. I didn't think he had I thought we were going to fall out months and months ago. You've
done a good job. You'd be phoning me up saying, "This I need." Please, just give me something. Give me something that I can just tell him we're close or we're near, or just stay in camp.
I'm saying to him, we've got this fight. You can't take a week off. You can't take 2 weeks off. You can't go out I said, you have to just stay in the zone. We don't have a date for the fight, but I'm telling you the fight's going to happen. Just trust me, the fight will happen at some stage, and you don't want to be then chasing it. You don't want to say, right then, fight, we've got 6 weeks, let's go. Yeah. You don't want to be then thinking, I got. No, I said, we've got to go. We've got to really position our whole training camp around a potential date. And coincidentally, the date that we picked was the date the fight is. And we really pushed it. We really pushed everything towards peaking tonight. You know, he's doing 12-round sparring sessions. I'm talking crazy pace. It's an unreal. If someone came, Lawrence Okoli watched some of the sparring. He was like, "How's he supposed to keep that up? That's a bit unrealistic." I'm like, "Keep watching," and he just kept going. He's like, "I didn't think he had a chance, to be honest." Between us, I was like, he said, "I didn't really think he had a chance when the fight was announced, but if he can do that in the fight, then how's Usyk supposed to win the fight?" I'm like, "Yes." Now you get it. He's coming. It's all come together at the right time. All the fines, all of the aggravation, all of the legal stuff, all of the press conferences, all of the knockout losses, all of that is for this. If he wouldn't have had any of that, he wouldn't have been here now. So I'm fortunate he's had such a crazy fight. If it wasn't for him having 9 losses, I think the fact he's had 9 losses works in his favour. Usyk's team was taking these. Yeah, Usyk's people thought, yeah, if he's lost 9 fights. If we can't beat Derek Chisora, who's lost 9 fights, what are we even talking about the world title for? They're wrong. He's a very different proposition to the likes of Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury. They're long-range boxers. If you want to have a long-range boxing match with Usyk, I don't care who you are, you're going to struggle. I don't care how long your arms are. He can stay at that range. He's a wizard there. Good. These guys, both of the champions, don't get close to you. I think this fight will be harder for him to win than it would against both of the champions. Sounds crazy saying that, but it's a different type of fight. I'd prefer to fight. Right now, I prefer to fight someone at long range than someone like Derek Chisora now. I'm so glad I didn't fight this version of Derek Chisora, because it would have been all of the reasons why I won the fight, all of the team I had to get me to beat Derek, he's now got. So he's able to functionally use the strength that he naturally has to implement it into draining the energy of someone who's the same size as him in sparring. Now he's fighting someone who's 20-odd kilos lighter. It all tallies up to Derek Chisora smashing him to bits.
Well, listen, you keep talking, mate. He's going to be the favourite by the time this fight starts. I said, doing a great job. David Haye, thank you very much. We look forward to an unbelievable fight this Saturday. Well, the European Cruiserweight Championship, Tommy McCarthy against Bilal Lagoon. Of course, you two, former sparring partners as well. I actually spoke to Tommy about that. He said absolutely smashed you from pillar to post in the Usyk camp. Tommy, I don't know if that, you're willing to say that. I wasn't Usyk. Who was it?
Straight away, you've just blew.
Of course it was.
You've just told it's a bad lie, because I didn't have him in for the Usyk fight because he's not a southpaw.
Yeah, I know. Okay, well, what do I know?
For the Haye fight.
Okay.
So once again, you've just let your boxing
well, that was
knowledge
obviously big fluke of yours as well in your career. But Tommy, I think it's unbelievable. Is Mark Dunlop here? He's not.
He's coming in the morning.
You know this guy, Mark Dunlop. Just for people who don't know, it's his manager. He does not leave me alone. Right? I promise you, I promise you, you would not be on this card on Saturday without Mark Dunlop, because it's like he just don't leave me alone. Please, and he starts pulling on the heartstrings. This kid, he deserves his opportunity. He's been in for everything. I'm like, blimey, all right, go on then, stick him on. You know what I mean? So you got it. You got your big chance, and it's a massive opportunity for you.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it don't get any bigger than this. It's basically the current claimant net. This is the biggest show in the year so far, and what a stage to be on. So shout out Mark for doing your head in so much. So you got me on the show.
But I think when you talk about Northern Irish boxing and Belfast boxing particularly, obviously Carl Frampton's done incredible. We had a little bit of fun with Ryan Burnett until he stepped down in his career. But I feel like with you and Tennyson, I love watching James Tennyson. I think he's such an exciting fighter. There's massive potential for you two to almost co-main event a card in Belfast next year and start getting back to the Odyssey once the crowds are back.
Yeah, that's the dream. That's Mark's dream to have, because he manages James too, obviously. So to have his 2 fighters top in the Odyssey, and obviously I'd like to be the top. You know what I mean? Not the, but
depends how you look on
Depends how it goes.
Saturday.
Exactly, it depends how it goes. But James has an unbelievable style, all action, punches like a can't curse on us. No, well, it won't cut, so he just punts as hard as anything, and like me and him's looking to take over, because, like you said, Carl's coming towards the end. Ryan, unfortunately, was retired before his time, so it's wide open for us to take over.
When you look at the domestic division at the moment, when you look back on the Riakporhe fight, what's your feelings about that fight now? I mean, you know, you're doing well in the fight. He's a huge puncher. You know, you got caught, you got hurt, you never really recovered in that fight. Do you feel like you're in a much better place now than you were going into that fight?
Yeah, going in that fight, I kind of knew I wasn't 100% ready for it. It came like late notice. I'd been training, but when you're fighting for a championship, like 10 rounds, you need to have a full proper camp, and overlooked them big time. I thought, then because he fought Sam Haye before, and Sam's a friend of mine, so Sam was won every round until the big injury. So I was like, yeah, I'll do this. Like, I'll do him, no problem. But it was a big wake up call. It was just shock, and I was embarrassed, to say the least, because like always, I hold myself in high regard in terms of my boxing skills, and you know, to go out like that on TV, it's just so.
You know what I will say about that? Sometimes things work out for a reason, because if you hadn't lost that, if you had won that fight, you would never have got the Turchi fight in Italy.
I
You know,
agree,
they looked at you
100%.
off the back of that fight and thought, you know what, Riakporhe stopped him.
love him.
He's the right opponent
Yeah.
for us. That win was so massive for you.
I know.
And how good is it to go and get a win on away soil?
Oh, it's
You know, I mean,
unbelievable.
Tony
It's
couldn't
great.
manage it, but you know, you did. You know, and there's nothing better, is there, than going out, especially in Italy, and getting the decision
I know that-
as well.
see, 'cause
I mean,
we
I
went
remember
there-
watching it on the stream, thinking it's gone to points. I mean, you know, we've had some bad scoring here recently, but Italy's
it's
the home.
notorious
Yeah.
for it. So when they went, they didn't call it split decision. They just says, right, we'll go to points. First judge, blah blah blah, McCarthy. Next judge, blah blah blah, Turchi. And I just looked over at Pete, and I was like, I'm getting robbed here, because I thought I won the fight well. And I was like, I can't believe it. And then when it come out, I think the last card was 115, 113, and I looked at Pete, and he stuck his hand up, because they were giving the scores after every 4 rounds, so he'd done the maths. And I looked at him, and I was like, oh my God, look at it.
It's
So
quite
a big
funny,
relief.
because we did a deal with the Zone in Italy, and I've slowly been getting all their fighters beat
I
in
know.
Italy. No,
And
Sam
now-
Eggington goes over and stops the guy over there. Luther Clay beat a kid as well. Martin Ward beat Boschiero. And they're all, you know, every time a Brit wins, they just look at me, the TV execs, and go like, just disgusted with me.
I'm an Irishman, how do you don't
Exactly.
forget?
Yeah,
Get
exactly.
me in trouble.
Boxing, mate,
Tony, you
it's
sparred
boxing.
this man many rounds. A lot of people in the
Yes.
game talk very highly of Tommy McCarthy
Yeah.
and really rate him. Big chance for him on Saturday.
Yeah, it's funny, we just had David Haye on before, and Tommy was one of my sparring partners in the David Haye fight, and I'd heard about him and knew little bits about him. I got him over for the first Haye fight. Very good, very competitive, a really good fighter, mate, and he's gone under the radar. I think when it comes to the Riakporhe fight, he's just got no momentum going into the fight, no kind of, you know, preparation. It's just you've took the fight, be ready as quickly as you can, and that's not how you should be entering and going into title fights. You should be having, you know, an 8-rounder, 10-rounder, whatever have you, a build-up properly that gets you prepared for them fights. We've seen he's gone into the Riakporhe fight, what's happened, but you've bounced back well, mate, and you've regrouped, you've gone again, and you've learned from the experience, which is a massive, massive thing in boxing. As long as you can keep learning from these experiences, you'll only go from strength to strength. You have all the ability. You're a really good athlete, fast hands, can punch a little bit, can do everything, mate. You can do, there's all these things.
How important is it for him to look good on Saturday? I mean, in his mind, it's just, and Pete Taylor's mind, I'm sure it's just when you go out, execute the game plan. But you know the business well. If you can make a statement on a stage like this, it's massive,
I
isn't it?
say to my fighters, and I tell them also, a couple of the lads who I look after, I say to them, listen, winning isn't enough. Make yourself relevant. Now, you're fighting for a big belt on Saturday. Now, that makes you relevant, but you don't want to go in the ring and win on points and everyone goes, did you see that fight? Yeah, it was all right, but they don't remember your name. Because I see it so many times in boxing. Two fighters have a really good fight, and at the end of it, the mates will be sitting in the pub and they go, what was his name again? You know, take that out of the equation. Do something. Say something. Just get yourself out there. So when the fight's over, shout someone's name.
Just talk about, hey, you
Mate.
SpongeBob
Yeah,
haircut.
Bellew, you bum.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, you know, just put.
It's
You
true,
want
it's
people
true.
to have a
Oh,
lasting
man,
impression
yeah.
of you.
Yeah.
You've got to take that into your
It's
own hands.
difficult because you just want to win.
Yeah, that's
But
a big
ultimately, to
You
to
do,
hit the
'cause
heights.
it's entertainment as well at the end of the day.
I mean,
Like,
if you knock 'em-
notoriously,
if you
you know,
knock 'em
British
out.
fighters have won the European Cruiserweight title quite easily. You got a tough fight on Saturday. He fought Masternak
And that-
for
but
the
that
European
was a
title.
tough fight,
No,
right?
it was no.
Mate,
no,
and I got the
he's-
catch
Oh,
pulled
yeah,
down on me.
fuck
Yeah,
like, this was one of the greatest things, you know.
absolute disgrace he is. Just that I wanted to kill him that night
I mean,
as
to
well.
be fair, what he ended up earning in his career, I look back at that purse, I actually feel a bit embarrassed. And when we went back to the hotel, you know, his eyes were just out here, and I did feel really bad for at least 15
minutes.
seconds, and then we got over it, you know. But they're the kind of fights. I mean, that probably goes down as one of the toughest fights of your career against Mastodon. I mean, you had to go through everything in that fight. And I guess we don't know a lot about Lagoon.
Yeah.
You know, Talk's a great game, but it's a big opportunity for him as well. You know,
Yeah,
Belgian
he's
fighters
actually
aren't.
boxed for it before, and he had a draw. So he's boxed at a good level. That's what I'm saying. He's a good European. He's the kind of guy you need to beat to go move on to the next stage.
That's it. He's a stepping stone.
Yeah.
He's a gatekeeper, and you know his level. The good thing that you've got going for you coming into this fight is he thinks you found your level. He's going to look at your career, and this is what Usyk's doing with Derek Chisora. You can see they look at your resume, look at your record, and they think, if he couldn't beat him, he's not going to beat me. If he can't, it doesn't work like that because styles make fights.
Exactly.
He's going to get a shock at your hands. He's going to get a shock. You know, you're looking great shape.
Yeah, that's
I've
the
Seen
best
a few
sub
abs
of
there,
a
to be
winner.
fair. There's one thing I saw in the photo shoot. Genuinely, you look in much better
That's
shape.
what I'm saying. Like I said it today at the press conference, all my teams all been finally sorted because at the start of for years of my pro career, and Tony, you might have experienced this as well. You're winging it kind of, and you don't know who to trust, and everyone wants to come on board and go for it. And now I have a genuine professional setup, and that came together right before the Turchi fight, and you know it proved the Turchi win proved that it made all the right. Selected the right people to be part of the team, so I've got my.
You look light. Are you lighter than you are at this stage normally?
Nah,
or not?
nah,
You just look
same,
lean.
yeah. Like I'm the exact same weight, but I've just look better and I feel
prepared.
better and exactly better prepared. I've got S&C nutritionist. Never had a nutritionist before, and my coaches and even like mental strength coaches know like the make sure the mains right.
Sure, yeah. Well, listen, mate.
It's another box ticked. You're ticking all the boxes.
You
and
need
I
all
say-
them 1%, and that's the difference
That's what
between
it's
winning and
about.
losing.
That's the difference between the brilliant fighters and you know the guys who just the gatekeepers, the guys who just get there and fall short. I believe 100% you can get there now and reign, go and win that European title, open the door to more bigger fights, and open your mouth.
Yeah, right.
Let
Open
them
your
know.
mouth, but do it with your fist. Make a statement
Yeah,
on
that's
Saturday
it.
night. That's the way to do it. Good luck to you, my friend.
Thanks very much.
Big fight for you on Saturday. Big undercard, of course. Lee Selby against George Kambosos. I love
Yes.
George Kambosos up there. He was absolutely firing on all
I thought
cylinders.
someone had shrunk Gabe Rosado and stuck him on the stage for a second, but
It's going to be a tough fight for Selby, though.
He's definitely active. He's talking a good one, and with Selby, you know, he uses class. I don't know how he's still big at that weight. He's
huge
He's
for a
gone up.
lightweight,
He's
doesn't
gone
he?
up
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
It's the first time I've ever seen him this close to a fight looking healthy. Usually I've seen him over the years, and once it's 3 or 4 days before a fight, he looks gaunt and he looks absolutely dead when he gets on
he's on
scales.
the weight. I was talking to him and the change, and he's only a couple of pounds.
Yeah.
He looks
He actually
healthy.
pulled out of a fight at the Odyssey once. I think he boxed Martin Lindsay. I don't know if it was. No, it was against
the Martin
Martin
Lindsay
Lindsay.
fight, it was.
And it was on the morning of the fight.
know it
Obviously,
was the
he
morning
struggled
of the
at the
fight,
weigh-in, woke up and said he had food poisoning, but I just don't think he recovered from the weigh-in. And I remember going to his hotel room, and he was at a stage where he was an opponent for Martin Lindsay at the time. You know, he started off, he had no money, and I went into his hotel room, and he was absolutely devastated.
Yeah.
How he made 9 stone for years and years, it's just
Unbelievable.
incredible. So big fight for him.
Yeah.
Big card, Savannah Marshall against Hannah Rankin as well. I love the
It's a
way
good
Hannah
fight.
Rankin's talking as well. So look forward to it. Good luck to you.
Thanks,
And
Ed.
do not miss a huge night of boxing this Saturday live on Sky Sports Box Office, the Zone across America. Of course, the main event, Usyk against Chisora, the pound-for-pound star, the undisputed cruiserweight champion with his real heavyweight test against Del Boy. Do not miss it.